trouble the water. See that band all dressed in white, must be the children of the Israelite. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. See them children all dressed in red, must be the children brother Moses led. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water.
Hi, I'm Colleen Crawley, and I'm the coordinator of what we call the Food Gatherers Farm Project. And it's a project that is part of the mindful eating team of the First Unitarian Church, First Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Ann Arbor. This is our 6th season. We work on the property of Farmer Bill Schmid. He is our gracious host here. And basically the project gets started because Bill's been doing this work for many years, longer than the six years we've been involved. Bill has been donating 50% of the produce and harvest that he raises right here on this property to food gatherers for 10 plus years. But his health was deteriorating. He couldn't keep up with the work effort and the amount of hours that were required and the labor, and so he put a call out to food gatherers and he asked them if they could come up with a team of volunteers. And they knew about my group, the Mindful Eating Team. We worked with them on other projects, and we're right around the corner. We're less than half a mile from this property. So they got in touch with me, asked if we'd be interested, and after voting amongst our leadership group, we decided to give it a try. In year 1, we more than doubled the output that Bill had been raising. He was shooting for 1,000 pounds and $1,000 raised from the roadside stand that he puts out at the street. We doubled those numbers in our first year, so we were very proud of that. So since then, we have raised 16,000 pounds of produce that has been donated to food gatherers, and something like $15,000 that's gone to them from sales at an honor system roadside stand. The way it works is everything is volunteer, everything is donated. So for instance, I'm standing in front of a pile of mulch. It's leaves from last fall that have been left to decompose and become a very rich, very mineral content mulch that's ideal. Bill gets these donated from all over the community. There's a couple of people that contact him when they've done their raking and blowing of their leaves, and they have them in piles, and we send a group of volunteers and load up his truck and bring him over here and dump him off. He gets his manure from his friend across the street who raises horses, and she lets him know when it's time for her to clean out her barns, and we can fill buckets and bring over very fresh manure, which is ideal. The city helps out by donating some of the compost and the wood chips and things like that. And then all the volunteer efforts are completely, that's all volunteer. It's all of our group. The word has spread right now. Most of the people on the property today are from the First Unitarian Universalist Congregation, First UU, but some are not. Some are friends of Bill's, neighbors of his, who drove by and said, "What's this group doing on your property? What's happening?" And they got inspired and came out. One woman brings her high school age daughter to do service work here. Through another effort, we met up with some Muslim women who were very interested in getting a garden started in their property and wanted to learn about it. So they came out and volunteered on our property here, and they put in hours. Within the church, many subgroups. It's not just the mindful eating team that does it. The choir might come out. Last week we had the 9th grade coming of age program out here. The week before that, we had the 7th grade students out here. They come out and plant potatoes or plant the squash. They pick one project and they put their efforts into it. So it's been a very worthwhile, very rewarding people. Today, what you're witnessing is our kickoff. Every year, Bill likes to get everything planted on Memorial Day weekend. He's very serious about that, and even though it's the holiday weekend and nobody really wanted to come out and work on the holiday. It's really important to him to get everything in the ground over Memorial. So we raised the call, the battle cry once again, and got a great group. We have 16 people here this morning, and we have another 9 or 10 coming in the afternoon. In between, we're going to have a potluck luncheon set up and enjoy each other's company and get to know each other a little bit better and have some camaraderie. Through it all, Bill is our fearless leader. Farmer Bill taught us everything we know. I didn't know anything about gardening or farming before I took on this project. He'll tell you blunders I've made when he told me to weed something and I pulled out all the borage or whatever, some important green that was not supposed to be pulled out. I thought it was a weed. He teaches us everything, and it's great knowledge, and it's a very good, feel-good situation. What we do, once we get this all planted, we will now come out 3 times a week and maintain it. So we come out on Monday evenings, Thursday evenings, and Saturday mornings. And the Monday and Thursday evenings are coordinated because food gatherers will do a pickup here. They will come and with their trucks and pick up the produce on Tuesdays and Fridays. So it'll be as fresh as possible. We will have harvested it the night before. It'll be as fresh as it can be. So that's why those situations were set up. Groups that come out, women's groups or choirs or any other group that wants to come can pick another night of the week or an afternoon or a morning, whenever they are convenient to come, and they can set it up separately with Bill. So he will have people out here all week long throughout different parts of the process, and then he'll coordinate that directly with them. And the things we do, we prep soil, we plant, we weed, mulch, harvest, water. Water some years has been a bigger deal than others. If we get a lot of rain, it's no problem, but there's been some years where we were out here almost on every shift with hoses trying to keep everything watered because it was so dry. So our season goes generally from May until October. But as early as May, we are already starting to make donations to food gatherers because there's asparagus that grows on the property, and so we'll donate some of that, or some of the early lettuces and herbs and things. But the majority of the harvest doesn't start until about July, and it really takes over in August. And what we're doing with the harvest is donating at least 50% of what is raised on this property is going directly to food gatherers. They have a mission to get as fresh and green and healthy a food to their client base as possible. People who are hungry don't just want to eat macaroni and cheese and canned goods, which is what most food drives raise. The majority of people who are suffering from hunger and food insecurity complain about not getting enough greens and vegetables and healthy produce on the table. And so it's really important that the work we're doing isn't just contributing pounds of food, but is actually contributing some of the most important food they're looking for. So beautiful fresh tomatoes are being distributed, glorious eggplants and cauliflowers and broccolis and peppers and amazing zucchinis, all kinds of great food. So they come by with their trucks and pick it up, take it back to the food gatherer's warehouse, and then they will distribute it to something like 150 organizations in Washtenaw County that have hungry and food insecure clients that can then access it. If it's an interesting, unusual item like a winter squash and they're afraid that the recipient won't know what to do with it, Food Gatherers actually has a nutritionist and health person who prepares recipes. So they don't just hand you a squash, they say you might want to consider doing something like this with the squash. So it's a pretty cool program. By the time we're into October, the things we're harvesting is if Bill's apples, which are way past the cars over there, but there's apples on the property, and if they came in good, some years they're off, but if we got a good crop, those are one of the last things that'll be happening in October, are the apples. And then it's time to clean it all up. We try to work and clean up as we go, so when we harvest the corn, we chop off those stalks and start making mulch out of them and moving. But boy, there's a lot of cleanup work that happens in the last several weeks of of October. The other part I haven't mentioned is that you haven't seen yet, but there's a glorious flower component to this. Flowers are essential to raising food because they bring the bees and all the pollinators. So Bill has always made it important to have rows and rows of gladiolas and cannas and just exuberant flowers and sunflowers like you wouldn't believe. Just amazing array of flowers. And one besides the pollinators, the other great benefit that has come from those flowers is we get asked all the time to make bouquets up. So now part of the roadside sales are coming from people pulling over to buy a $4 or $5 gorgeous bouquet of flowers. So it's that money, again, 50% of all the money we raise goes to food gatherers as well. So flowers have become very important in terms of the overall effort that we're making.
When the sun goes low and the first quail calls, follow the drinking gourd. The old man is a-waiting for to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. For the old man is a-waiting for to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. Well, the riverbed makes a mighty fine road. The dead trees will show you the way. Left foot, peg foot, traveling on. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. For the old man is a-waiting for to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd.
Okay, can you tell us your name and about your...
my name is Ted Fisher, and I'm a member of Webster United Church of Christ. And this is the Webster Garden Project, one of the outreach projects of our Webster Church. And we provide food from this garden for food gatherers in Ann Arbor.
Okay. And approximately how many people work on this project from your church?
About a group of about 5 or 6 people are the regular workers of the church here, and there are a few others that come and donate time from time to time, but basically the core group is about 5 or 6.
How many people, or who raised your beds? Who built your garden here for you? Can you tell us
Just
about
about everything you see here was an Eagle Scout project through the years from the Boy Scout troop that the church sponsors. They built the Eagle Scout projects, built the raised beds, they built the fence around it, they built the concrete floor for ease of people with wheelchairs being able to come and enjoy the garden as well.
Approximately how many pounds per year does your church garden donate to food gatherers?
Well, last year we donated about 345 pounds. Not all from this garden, but church members would also contribute from their own gardens as well. And altogether, it was about 345 pounds, more or less. One year it was up to 500 some pounds.
What got you interested in this Faith and Food project?
Well, I've always been interested in gardening. We have our own home garden. And when this project started and the beds were made, it became a very worthwhile thing to do. And so I joined the group of people that were working on it, and I've enjoyed working here ever since. I've probably been involved in the garden maybe for about 5 years, but it had been going on long before then.
How long have you been active in terms of being a steward? Is this something new for you?
I've been involved in the church here for maybe about 30 some years, and before that in other churches. But this was a really worthwhile project, and since I'm also a gardener at home, it was a natural thing to do.
And can you tell us about the signs? One says hope and faith. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, we decided to identify the different raised beds here in this garden. And these are all signs that are indicative of our Christian faith. And so we talk about then having a hope bed, a faith bed, a love bed, and so forth.
Is there anything more that you would like to say about your faith and food project here?
I'd just like to reiterate that this is a project of the whole church, not just our little group, and that we ask for excess food donations from all church members and friends, and it all goes to food gatherers in Ann Arbor to feed the hungry. And
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you very
that,
much
yeah.
for your time, Mr. Fisher. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Got a friend named Farmer Bill, growing food up yonder on Maple Hill. Got a friend named Farmer Bill, growing fruit and veggies up yonder on Maple Hill. My friend named Farmer Bill, feeding folks throughout this land. Volunteers coming to lend a hand. Got a friend named Farmer Bill, feeding folks throughout the land. Got a friend named Farmer Bill, lending a helping hand. Oh, my friend named Farmer Bill, up yonder on Maple Hill. Oh, farmer, farmer Bill. Oh, farmer, farmer Bill. Oh, farmer, farmer Bill. Oh, farmer, farmer Bill.
Hi, I'm Farmer Bill, and right now I have several groups out here working. I have the Muslim Sisterhood. They're all weeding in between the tomatoes and the peppers and celery. I have the Stone Circle group. They're breaking up the soil and skimming the soil and bringing the soil back here to this new raised bed to finish the raised beds that I've currently are building, and we're going to put lettuce back here for the fall. Also have Margaret out picking up tomatillos, and I have another young lady, she's deadheading all of my flowers for me. And I think that pretty much covers all that's being done right at the moment. Oh, one last little note. I just recently made a deposit today, and we're ready to send a check off to Food Gatherers for $1,000. Thanks.
Got a friend named Farmer Bill, growing food up yonder on Maple Hill. Got a friend named Farmer Bill, growing fruit and veggies up yonder on Maple Hill. My friend named Farmer Bill, feeding folks throughout this land. Volunteers coming to lend a hand. Got a friend named Farmer Bill, feeding folks throughout the land. Got a friend named Farmer Bill, lending a helping hand. Oh, my friend named Farmer Bill up yonder on Maple Hill. Oh, farmer, farmer Bill. Oh, farmer, farmer Bill.